I'm gonna draw your mom.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Emma Dolan, Olympia gold. Emma Dolan has done it the hard way. Dolan has been fighting and winning, away from the bright lights. Even when the light finally came her way, she was brought in to lose, but she didn't. And still, she had to wait. Finally, the waiting is now at an end. Dolan will somewhat belatedly get her elusive maiden world title opportunity this coming Sunday, live on Sky Sports. The 27-year-old will challenge Irma Garcia for her IBF World Super Flyweight title. Garcia, a 44-year-old Mexican, will hope that she will be the first fighter to solve that elusive Emma Dolan puzzle, but sadly, for the reigning IBF champion, the odds strongly indicate that she will leave the Olympia in London an ex-champion. Dolan is on odds to win. The bookies are rarely wrong. They probably have it right again, maybe for the first time in her near 5-year professional career. The odds are now finally in her favor, and heavily so. But the hard road Dolan has taken to this point will serve her well on Sunday. She will know that she can't take anything for granted. Sort of underreported that Emma Dolan has beaten 2 unbeaten fighters, 2 very good ones, in Nicola Hopewell and Shannon Bryan. Perhaps that's why the bookies have her the betting favorite. Dolan turned pro in 2021 with a first-round stoppage win over Nicole Goldsmith. A good win over the tough Gemma Rueg in just her 3rd fight in the paid ranks was a little indication of what was to come, but maybe the hookup with Carl Greaves was when everything started to change for her. The involvement of Greaves in the recent upward trajectory shouldn't be overlooked. A points win over Halima Vunjaibay earned Dolan the Commonwealth Super Flyweight title, but 3 fights since have been where her obvious class have started to shine through. It left Dolan firmly set in the Who Needs Her Club, otherwise known as the High-Risk, Low-Reward Club. Dolan took away the unbeaten records of both Nicola Hopewell and Shannon Bryan. Dolan won both fights on points and looked extremely good in doing so. Dolan dropped Ryan in their 2024 fight, a win that earned her the inaugural British title. Lauren Parker found Dolan too good for her last year, but Dolan has been made to wait on the sidelines while her long-awaited and much-deserved world title chance got over the line. Dolan knows better than most that boxing politics take too long to get out of first gear. The unbeaten British and Commonwealth champion is from another time. A good old-fashioned pro who prefers to let her fists do the talking rather than replicate endless social media barrages we get from some other boxers. Many a modern-day fighter is seemingly far too content to focus heavily on their online profile. Dolan prefers to hone her skills in the gym. Despite that unwillingness to go down the route of social media excess, there has been a quiet, assured confidence about Dolan. In recent times, it has been a long wait for her. In truth, far too long, but finally on Easter Sunday, her patience has been rewarded. Dolan has landed her first world title opportunity on the first ever UK show for Jake Paul and his most valuable promotions. At the top of that show, Caroline Dubois and Terry Harper will finally get to settle their differences in a much-anticipated world lightweight unification. And Ellie Scottney hopes to go undisputed at Super Bantam. Scottney and Dolan are friends from their amateur days. It's fitting that they are reunited once again on the big show. Dolan isn't signed to that elite female stable of MVP fighters. Of course, that could change if she wins and impresses the powers that be. But Dolan will know certain things are out of her control. In simple terms, all she has to do is win. I believe she will do exactly that. That's what the author of the article thinks, and I share in that opinion. If you haven't seen Emma Dolan in action before, she is best described as a female Tyson Fury. A pure boxer, light on their feet, with a lot of height and a lot of length that boxes their opponent up. Enough that I don't think a 44-year-old Irma Garcia is going to be able to keep up with Emma Dolan and keep on her. I believe that the title is going to change hands and Emma Dolan will win a points decision. If she does, MVP has the option of signing her, which would make Emma the second world champion they would have signed at Superfly. The first was the WBA champion Jasmine Artiga, of the United States, though she's not the only prized stallion they have at this weight. They also have Liana Cruz, unbeaten up-and-comer. MVP has one of two things going on in the super flyweight division that Emma Dolan, if she wins on Sunday, would be a welcome addition to that robust stable of Valkyries. And MVP has even more reason now to start signing British fighters because they just inked a deal with Sky Sports and they mean to do more shows on British soil throughout the calendar year. Gonna do shows on British soil, you're gonna need British fighters. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, Ryan Garcia is back up to his shenanigans, taking shots at Terence Crawford for whatever reason.
It's rage bait.
I believe Terence left more of his legacy on the table. Just my opinion. Undisputed doesn't mean anything if you truly don't challenge yourself.
Says the guy whose biggest win is Mario Barrios. Is that supposed to be a challenge?
I'm speaking from knowing boxing and speaking from the heart as a fighter, not just some random that can only see the surface level of the game.
Well, on the surface, you were supposed to beat Rolly Romero, then you lost. After which, you went to go cry in the ambulance. Are you really the guy who should be questioning Terence's legacy? Because what's yours?
You're saying he wasn't challenging himself by fighting Errol Spence Jr., then unbeaten unified welterweight champion, or jumping up 2 weight classes to take on what used to be your mentor, Canelo Alvarez?
No, that's not him challenging himself. You fighting a punching bag in Mario Barrios. That's the real challenge. It's so ridiculous for any of this to be coming from Ryan Garcia, of all people, that it's gotta be rage bait. Crux of Ryan's argument seems to be that Terence never fought anyone who was young and fresh.
To which Terence responded, Ryan, you do know that I'm older than Spence and Canelo, right? To my surprise, I actually saw some individuals agreeing with Ryan.
You'd have to be some kind of a moron to agree with him.
You know, Gamboa was unbeaten at the time that Terence fought him. So was Victor Postol. So was Julius Ndongo. So was Jeff Horn.
So was Errol.
Errol Spence Jr. was unbeaten at the time that Terence fought him. So was Israel Madrimov, both of which are younger than Terence. So how much more young and fresh do they need to be?
Beats me.
Canelo Alvarez was younger than Terence Crawford, but some people are saying that Canelo having over 70 fights...
Stop the cap.
Stop making fucking stupid excuses, please. It's hardly Terence Crawford's responsibility to mitigate how much damage or how much wear and tear or how many fights another fighter has had. What do you want he should do? Jump in his time machine? Fight Canelo when he's fresher?
Stop the cap.
Cut the bullshit. Canelo Alvarez was the most credible scalp to collect in the super middleweight division at the time. He was undisputed champion. You don't get to gloss over that after the fact.
And he's set to come back in September, so that if he does, and he beats Mabili or Resendiz, whoever they get for him,
Sheeraz, one of these younger fighters, if Canelo beats them, that kills your argument about him being spent and him being past it.
what is it about boxing fans and making fucking excuses? It's like the sport is riddled with sore losers.
Terence Crawford moving up and beating Canelo Alvarez is a pretty close parallel to Sugar Ray Leonard moving up and beating Marvin Hagler. Did he face the best version of Marvin, the youngest? No.
But Marvin didn't get the best version of Sugar either.
If my memory serves me, Sugar was coming off a long layoff, like Terence Crawford was coming off a long layoff. Except that when Sugar moves up for Marvin, Marvin is actually older than Sugar, where Terence
was older than Canelo, naturally smaller. To add to it, Terence Crawford was about 7 years older than Sugar Ray Leonard was at the time he moved up to fight Marvin Hagler.
Time he moves up to fight Marvin, Sugar Ray Leonard's 30, Marvin is 32, where Terence was 37 at the time he jumps up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo. So why do you guys try so hard to discredit him?
This is why I'm glad he retired.
It's never going to be enough because they don't actually want Terence to succeed or to prove himself. He already did that. You guys just keep moving the goalpost.
Like what he knew his critics here in the United States do with him, that's what some people do with Terence. They're arguing in bad faith. It's not about him beating a guy or proving something.
He already proved what he needed to prove. In fact, he proved a lot of you guys wrong. You know the night of the Canelo-Alvarez fight when Terence Crawford won?
Ryan said he proved it. Ryan Garcia, the night of, said Terence Crawford proved it. He's arguably one of the best fighters to ever lace them up. So that all these months later, he can sing a different tune.
He's a fucking dickhead.
This guy literally got beat by Rolly, then went to cry about it in the ambulance. He can't be serious.
The Errol Spence that he fought, whatever you think about him, would have beat the very best fighters that you fought. Oh, Errol wouldn't have beat Mario Barrios? Errol Spence Jr. couldn't have beat Rolly Romero.
Same Rolly that got knocked out by a tree stump in Isak Cruz. Are you serious? These are unserious times. Filled with unserious people.
And the serious people are castigated by the unserious people because they're jealous, because they're envious, because Ryan Garcia knows well enough. When his career is over, he's not going to be a 5-weight undisputed anything.
He's not even known for his boxing. He's known for his Instagram account and the streamers that he pals around with. Neon and Nina Drama, Sarah Safari.
He's a fucking joke.
His boxing career is a joke. Sponsored in part by Instagram. Hurry up and do another live stream with Chrissy and Rock, lest you fall into obscurity and people stop talking about you. It seems to me this has got to be rage bait.
This is what he resorts to keep his name in the news. Staying controversial, saying things for shock value.
A generation so derelict of actual talent, but still craving attention, they'll get it however they have to, however they can.
The little clout demons.
Elsewhere in the super middleweight division, former champion Caleb Plant shows interest in Hamza Sheeraz matchup. Yet, even with some of Hamza Sheeraz's imposing physical attributes, Caleb Plant wants a shot at him. I think that's a big fight, Plant said on All the Smoke Fight. I'd definitely fight him. A high-profile name such as Plant might interest Sheeraz down the line, but he's focusing on his upcoming fight. The ring's number 8 super middleweight was ordered to face Alem Bejic for the vacant WBO title left behind by Terence Crawford upon his retirement. Sheeraz is ranked number 2 by the WBO, while Bejic is 4th. Alvarez is slotted at number 1, and Jacob Bank is 3rd. Prior to landing his second shot at a title, Sheeraz placed the super middleweight division on notice by stopping Edgar Berlanga as the headliner for Ring 3 back in July. Sheeraz's career appears to have momentum, something Plant desperately needs. He might be number 7 in the ring's super middleweight rankings, but he's just 2-3 since 2021. As the favorite, he normally gets the job done, but his previous fight changed all of that. The 33-year-old was outworked and out-hustled against Armando Resendiz in May, losing a split decision. He also lost his WBA interim title. Resendiz was later elevated to full champion. Despite the disappointment, Plant's confidence hasn't hit rock bottom. If he does find himself squaring off against the lanky Sheeraz, he believes that he'll find a way to exploit his weaknesses. I think he's a good fighter, Plant said. I think he hits hard. I think he's got a lot of heart. But I've seen some things in his game that I can capitalize off of.
Stop the cap.
I actually like Caleb Plant as a person and in some ways as a boxer, though him being a pure boxer, I don't favor him to win that fight with Hamza.
No?
For the same reason, I didn't favor Keith Thurman against Sebastian Fundora. That's literally the same reason I wouldn't favor Caleb over Hamza. Caleb's going to get on the good foot, on the balls of his feet, move lateral, and he's going to try to stay on the outside of Hamza.
Except that Hamza's a little bit too tall and a little bit too long for you to do that. Tack on that Hamza's got a jab, a strong one.
To where if you try to stay on the outside of him, on the move, attempting to work off the counter, what's going to happen to you is what happened to Keith Thurman this past weekend. You ain't got the dimensions to box from the outside against a guy that much bigger than you are, and that is if Caleb fights how he normally fights. If he makes the necessary adjustment,
He doesn't have the engine.
or the punching power, because what he's supposed to do against a guy with that much of a size advantage is come forward, slip past the straight punches, catch and counter your way in, then work him from the inside.
He doesn't have the engine.
Except that Caleb doesn't have the cardio or the punching power for that kind of assignment. Even in fights where Caleb Plant is winning, after about 6 rounds, he starts to slow down. His output wanes. He starts to get hit more. And that's in fights that he's winning.
I thought you said you don't trust Hamza Sheeraz's chin.
I don't. Against the bigger punchers at the weight, If they land clean on Hamza, I do think he hits the deck. He could be in trouble, but Caleb's not a power guy.
He's not a pressure fighter.
And if he tried to be a pressure fighter, at least for that fight, make that adjustment, he would burn out that much sooner because he's never had a good engine.
Looks like the writing is on the wall.
In previous videos, I've talked about how maybe the best move for Caleb is to migrate over to Zuffa, because over at the PBC, they don't have a lot left for him to do, and they're not doing a lot of shows. When is their next one?
They never delivered him the Jermall Charlo fight.
Jermall Charlo that recently had to withdraw from a proposed Armando Resendiz title shot due to ongoing issues. I don't know what they are. I just know he's not fighting. And apparently, neither is Caleb. He ain't fought since May. He's still coming off the loss to Resendiz.
To where I figured maybe he needs to go over to Zuffa. If nothing else, they can get him back on a regular schedule, put some money in his pocket.
The issue might be that Zuffa doesn't do the juniors and the supers. They don't have a super middleweight division. If you go over there, you're either campaigning as a middle or a light heavyweight. Caleb's too big to boil down to 160, but too small to campaign at 175. So maybe that's what it is.
Maybe.
But if he's willing to chase down Hamza Sheeraz for an opportunity, what that essentially means, what it would have to, is that you're willing to go to the UK and you're willing to box on somebody else's side of the street. Because you would have to. You don't have enough marquee value to bring Hamza to you. You would have to go to him, and if you go to him, you would have to let Queensberry promote it. So, if you're willing to change your decorum for a Hamza Sheeraz fight, why don't you go to Matchroom?
He's still coming off the loss to Armando Resendiz, right?
Right.
So that even if you got what you wanted and you got Hamza, that would be less than ideal. You're coming off of many months of inactivity and a loss. If you go to Matchroom, they can get you one or two Jason Quigleys or Luke Keelers, rebuild you.
They can do that.
Then maybe put you in the ring with a Diego Pacheco or help you get that Hamza Sheeraz fight. The best move for Caleb, I think, is leaving the island and going to Matchroom. That in and of itself, that transition, will make headlines.
At this time, there's no real reason to talk about Caleb Plant. Last time you saw the guy, he lost. But if he goes to Matchroom, he gives you something to look for, something to talk about. That's what I think he should do. I don't know if he's going to do it.
But if you're willing to go to Queensberry to fight Hamza, why not go to Matchroom so you can bounce back to enter that final phase of your boxing career? Because I don't think Caleb is long for the sport of boxing.
I think the PBC have done all they can do for Caleb Plant. There are no big fights over there. The only semblance of a big fight they could make is the Charlo fight, except that's not a big fight. That's cold product.
Charlo is a junkie. He doesn't need to be in a boxing ring. He needs to be at the Betty Ford Center.
Don't let that be the reason that you stay on that sinking ship, that you stay on the island. It's about time to change your decorum. I think Eddie Hearn would be open to the idea of working with Caleb Plant, who still has some familiarity.
Go to Matchroom.